Chelsea Eilts with Gem Health. I'm a naturopathic physician, a doctor of classical Chinese medicine, and I'm trained in functional medicine. I'm here today to talk a little bit about holistic approaches to mindset and energy. Mindset is an important place to start whenever I'm working with clients to improve their health, because we have to think about the body as an extension of the mind. And the body then acts out, whether consciously or unconsciously, whatever programming we have set in our mind. In our culture, we're not always modeled the most healthy ways of being. So when we're operating unconsciously, oftentimes our habits are unhealthy habits that have just been handed to us unconsciously from other people around us. 80% of learning is done through modeling, is done through observing what other people do and then doing it ourselves. So when we take conscious ownership and really examine and modify our mindset so that our behaviors can then follow, we gain tremendous power for ourselves, both in life and then also in our body and in our health. Now, some of the common places where people give up their power to external things is in circumstances. So whether we say, there's not enough time to do X, Y, Z, or there's not enough money, I can't find enough resource in my life in order to make this change happen for myself. Both are distortions of reality, because we can always make time for things that are important to us. We can always make money for things that are important to us and vital to us. Another place is when we lend authority to other people. Oh, my partner wouldn't be on board with me making this lifestyle change or eating healthy or etc. Again, it's a distortion of reality. If we take ownership of our own behavior, we take ownership of our own life and our own outcomes, we can request support from the people in our lives, but we don't then have to let them and what they're doing be the limit of what we're able to achieve for ourselves. And the final place is when we assume a place of avoidance, when we say, oh, I just can't. I just don't want to. I just don't want to walk forward. And this is one of the places where a little bit of empowerment can go a long way. Maybe we just we've never had the example of knowing what it would be like if we were successful at something. Anything that we can truly believe is possible for ourselves, we can achieve. And that's true. We see it in all of the greats. They're modeling for us that this is true, and that if we adopt that mentality and that mindset, we too can achieve great things externally in our lives and internally for our health and our body and our wellness. Now, there are a couple of ways that, we've kind of outlined the problem. A couple of ways that I like to work with mindset. Of course, getting really clear about our goals, our intentions, and what we want is key. For a lot of my clients, I have them sit down and first and foremost say, delineate, what are your goals for your health, for your mindset, for your well-being? What would you like to see? What results would have you really excited to wake up in the morning? So setting those goals is important. I also encourage clients to sit down and write out what a perfect day would look like for you. If you didn't set, the limits of what you think is possible, but you actually just wrote, I would wake up at this time with this, in this environment, around these sorts of people. This is what the course of my day would look like. This is, what I might do as a service, or what I might be doing in the course of my day. Really getting clear on what lights you up and what would make you happy in your life is crucially important, because if we're going to be healthy, we should always be taking steps towards these things, and our body absolutely responds to that. Another thing I like to implement is hypnosis. I create custom tracks for my clients, though there are a number of tracks that people create for the purposes of improving your health that are out there in the world. And it's valuable and helpful place to start reprogramming the internal voice that we have. We all talk to ourselves all day long. We have a little internal chatter going on that can be destructive or it can be very constructive. And sometimes the things that we say to ourselves hinder us from making steps forward. And in order to heal and to be well, we need to look at those things. We need to be able to shift and address them in a way that, again, takes us closer to our goals. In lieu of this, you can also utilize meditation and mindfulness practices. I'm a big fan of Vishen Lakhiani's 6-phase meditation. It incorporates a number of different practices that you can do just sitting quietly in a place where you won't be disturbed. It can take something like 15 minutes of your day and make tremendous amount of clarity for you around what you want to achieve, how that brings you gratitude, how that brings you joy, how that influences other people. All of it, you kind of become more aware of this, and it will absolutely help you both in your external goals and the internal as well. Now, another reason why, we've been talking a lot about goal setting, but another reason why mindset's very important and that we're kind of honing in on what we want in life is the way in which our nervous system responds to stressors. Anytime we perceive our external environment as threatening, our brain goes into a bit of a fight or flight or freeze response. And think of this side of our brain is automatic. And the fight or flight is on a bit of a teeter-totter with all of our rest and digest functions. So when we're habitually firing in this fight or flight way, if something comes up, fight or flight, something else comes up, oh, it's a threat, fight or flight. This is meant to be a survival tactic, right? Like a bear pops up and you all of a sudden have all the sugar in your blood you need, all the energy that you need to run away and flee or to fight and stand your ground, whatever the circumstances may be. However, in our modern life, a lot of times our stressors aren't actually life-threatening, and now it becomes sort of a faulty mechanism when we perceive everything as a threat. A phone call from someone you don't want to talk to, or a child misbehaving in a way that's not necessarily life-threatening but concerning to you. We might go to this really intense state of internal tension, ready to handle a really big circumstance beyond what the situation actually calls for. And the more and more and more we do this, we sort of ingrain this pathway in our brain. If you think of the brain as like, if we walk that pathway enough times, it becomes like a rut, and it becomes the way that we most efficiently operate. Now, if we think again of this teeter-totter with rest and digest function, if every time a circumstance arises, we're kind of taking this fight or flight pathway, it can become that the rest and digest functions we have, our ability to digest food appropriately, being sleepy at night and being able to get solid sleep through the night, can start to become hindered. It's harder for us to go there. It's harder for our brain to go there. I talk with a lot of clients where they're like, I actually can't relax. I don't know how to put my shoulders down and take a deep breath and relax through my belly, because they've been very ingrained in a particular way of responding to the environment. Mindset's one way we can start to broach that. And mindfulness, oftentimes like a meditative practice, can help to create a little bit of space between the stimulus and our response. The more space we have, the more of an opportunity we have to choose a different way of responding that's not so heightened and not so tense. Hormonally, when we look at this interplay, every time we go to that fight or flight place, we create stress hormone. One of the biggest ones is cortisol. So we think about this, it comes from the adrenal glands, which are little triangular glands that sit on top of the kidney, and they set our circadian rhythm. So we should have stress hormone a little bit higher in the morning, makes us feel alert, helps us to wake up and feel, hey, focused for the day. And then it should slowly come down in the afternoon to be low in the evening time where you feel tired and ready to go to sleep. When we habitually have this stressful way of responding to the world where we're in fight or flight more often than not, it can start to disrupt that circadian rhythm. And there are phases that people typically go through if it's not addressed early on, where what's called functional adrenal fatigue starts to set in. The first phase, often what people notice, is feeling easily alarmed or easily startled. And then oftentimes they'll be tired in the morning and feel kind of alert and awake at bedtime, even if they're actually deeply fatigued. So that wired and tired sort of feeling indicates that there could be a little imbalance in that circadian rhythm and the cortisol production through the day. If that's not addressed and it continues on and on and on, the next phase that people often notice is a little bit more severe fatigue, where they wake up in the morning, they feel groggy, maybe get a little blip of energy from caffeine or some kind of stimulant, and then they're just tired all day long. And oftentimes have disruption in their sleep even though they're tired, having disruption in the sleep. Again, that's all the problem. What do we do about it? As a functional health practitioner, what I like to do is just remove the guesswork. We can create lifestyle changes to address sort of the drivers of this imbalance. But the imbalance itself, I like to look at lab testing. One of my favorite tests to look at is a urine test through a Dutch company, and they pair in saliva. So we can actually track and see where is the cortisol rhythm during the day. What phase of fatigue is a person experiencing? And from there, we have really clear indication of what can be done naturally to support a person. Of course, within my mentorship, my clients get customized protocols on what to do, though oftentimes I'll incorporate a few key players. One thing I like to incorporate is something called nervine herbs. These herbs help to calm the sympathetic nervous system. So they calm that part of us that goes fight or flight. And it can take the edge off, as a feeling. You can feel like, oh, hey, that thing that would normally make me go to 10 out of 10, I'm feeling 6 out of 10. I'm feeling, 5 out of 10. Things in this category are chamomile, lavender, skullcap, linden, a number of different herbs fall in this category. I would also consider some minerals to be in this category, like really mineral rich water, or, adding magnesium or something like this can help to calm the nervous system. Also, is a category of herb that I like to give to clients for adrenal issues are what are called adaptogens. And these herbs help us to have more sustained energy and it help to build our endurance over time. They're very popular in the world today. I think about ashwagandha and ginseng come to top of mind as popular adaptogen type herbs. Additionally, in this category, I like to give nutritional supplements that actually help to feed the adrenal glands themselves. And the number one thing that comes to top of mind here is actually glandular tissue. A number of companies, Standard Process being one of them, desiccate or dry out glandular tissue, and then eating it with the hormone component removed, you're actually eating tissue that helps to feed your glands and give them what they need in order to operate more effectively. Now that's looking at mindset and the adrenal in sort of a capsule perspective, but as a holistic practitioner, which means a whole body practitioner, we can never look at any one system in isolation. I think it's important that people recognize and know that, because our modern medical paradigm often has us think that the heart's over here, the liver's over here, they really have nothing to do with each other, when the reality couldn't be further from the truth. In fact, our circadian rhythm and our adrenal glands have intimate relationship with all of the rest of our glands, and as you can see, with our brain and also with our immune system. So we've kind of highlighted that brain adrenal axis, but the adrenal glands and the thyroid, it's important to know, are very intimately connected because the thyroid drives metabolism of our cells. So if we're constantly in an alert state, our body needs to upregulate the speed of our metabolism. And our thyroid gland can only handle so much. So sometimes when a person's going through phases of adrenal fatigue, we see it mirrored in the thyroid gland as well. Also, with regard to blood sugar stabilization, when our cortisol is high, our body makes sugar available so our muscles have what they need to run away from the bear. If that happens consistently, it will drive our blood sugar up too frequently, and that in time can create some disruptions in blood sugar balance. And another glandular system it's important to look at is our sex hormones. For women, I primarily work with women. When we're looking at cyclical issues, what I often see when cortisol is very high, progesterone can be very low. And then we have disruptions in the cycle because our ratio between estrogen and progesterone is very disrupted. Also for men, it's important to know that the cortisol levels in the body absolutely have an impact on testosterone bioavailability and production as well. So that is just a bit of information for you to chew on and to inform yourself how you might start implementing things in your own life to optimize these fundamental foundations of your health. And of course, you can absolutely reach out to Gem Health for support. And if you would like to come into a one-on-one functional health mentorship and container, that may be available to you if you're a good fit for our program. Also, you might consider looking for a naturopathic doctor or a functional medicine provider local to you for a little bit more guided one-on-one support. Until next time.